Andy, Andy. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to our conference dinner. My name is Eli Edelkop, and I'm the director of the European Jewish Development Fund, and I will be your host this evening. Thank you for being with us. After a day filled with significant and sometimes challenging discussions, let's unwind it with some wine. Let's raise a glass and say L'chaim all together. To extend our welcome, we also have a special video message from a distinguished guest. I did not mean that much, L'chaim. To extend our welcome, we also have a special video message from a distinguished guest, Mr. Mark Rutte, the Prime Minister of the Netherlands. Please pay attention to the screens.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the 7th of October last year, the world witnessed an explosion of violence against Jews. And in the wake of these attacks, we have seen yet more violence, division, and human suffering. I think we all struggle with that. The images and stories that emerged on October 7th and have continued ever since are heartbreaking in themselves. But we have also seen something else. We have seen anti-Semitic reactions in many countries, including the Netherlands. Anti-Semitism is a monster that has lurked in the shadows throughout history. And now it is rearing its ugly head more openly again. Let me be clear. No Jewish person in Europe and no Jewish community in our part of the world can be held responsible for the current conflict in the Middle East. That conflict can never be an excuse for insulting or threatening Jews or for vandalizing synagogues or other Jewish buildings. Together, we must condemn such actions in the strongest possible terms. We must stand up to all forms of anti-Semitism. As I've learned from Chief Rabbi Jacobs, that starts with not looking away. I have no doubt that from Amsterdam you will send this clear message to the world. Know that the Dutch government cherishes and protects Jewish communities and Jewish culture in our country. Know also that we will always be on the side of anyone who fights anti-Semitism. That is my message to you today. I wish you all a successful and inspiring conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, there was an Israeli tourist visiting a zoo in England. He saw a little girl leaning into the lion's cage. Suddenly, the lion grabbed her by the jacket and tried to pull her inside, right in front of her screaming parents. The Israeli ran to the cage and punched the lion on the nose. The lion, in pain, let go of the girl, and the Israeli brought her back to her terrified parents. A reporter who witnessed the whole scene said to the Israeli, "Sir, that was the bravest thing I've ever seen." The Israeli replied, "It was nothing. The lion was behind bars, and I just acted on instinct to save the girl." The reporter responded, "I'll make sure this story is on the front page tomorrow. Tell me, what's your name, occupation, and political affiliation?" The Israeli answered, "I'm from Israel. I serve in the Israeli army, and I voted for Likud." The next morning, the Israeli bought the paper and saw the headline, "Right-wing Israeli assaults African immigrant and steals his lunch." Yes, my friend, this is how it feels being Zionist and Jew today, watching the news and reading the paper. It reminds us of a midrash that tells us of a Jew who passed the Roman Emperor Hadrian and greeted him. The emperor was furious being greeted by a Jew and had him executed. The next day, another Jew passed the emperor and deliberately did not greet him, not to offend him, as the other Jew did. The emperor, after inquiring who he was, had him executed for daring not to greet the Roman emperor. Yes, my friends, we are being condemned if we do and condemned if we don't. And it is pretty much always been like this for us. Luckily, our strong bonds together and our sense of humor always get us through. Albert Einstein and Chaim Weizmann traveled together by ship to raise funds for the Hebrew University. When they arrived in New York in 1921, Weizmann was asked, "Do you understand Einstein's theory?" He responded with a delightful answer, "During the ocean crossing, Einstein explained his theory to me every day. And by the time we arrived, I was convinced, beyond any doubt, that Einstein truly understood it." It has not been an easy year for all of us. Last time we met in Porto, we had no idea what was coming. One of the first things we did at the beginning of our conference this morning was to observe a moment of silence for the fallen in Israel since October 7, and for the hostages still held in Gaza today. We have dedicated a table for them at our dinner tonight. They are always in our thoughts and hearts. At this point, I would like to invite Chief Rabbi Jacobs to the stage to lead us in a prayer for our fallen soldiers and victims. Chief Rabbi Jacobs, please join us.
If you please rise. We're saying the Yizkor, the prayer to remember those who did not survive. Yizkor Am Yisrael et Banaf Bnotaf הנאמנים והאמיצים, חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, וכל לוחמי המחתרות וחטיבות הלוחמים במערכות העם, ואנשי קהילות המודיעין, הביטחון והמשטרה ושירות בתי סוהר, אשר חירפו נפשם במלחמה על תקומת ישראל, וכל מי שנרצחו בארץ ומחוץ לה, בידי המרצחים מארגוני הטרור. יזכור עליהם ויתברך בזרעו ויעבל על זיו העולמים, וחרדת הגבורה וקדושת הרצון ומסירות הנפש של הנספים במערכה הכבדה. יוכלי המערכות בישראל, עטורי הניצחון, חתומים בלב ישראל לדור דור.
Thank you, Rabbi Jacobs. Please join us for a special melody prayer dedicated to wishing a speedy and complete recovery for our wounded soldiers and civilians and for the success of our defense forces. Please join us in the prayer. As the prayer is coming from Israel,
אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, העומדים על משמר ארצנו וערי אלוהינו, מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים, ומן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה, ביבשה, באוויר, ובים, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל.
ladies and gentlemen, our support for the state of Israel, the homeland of the Jewish people, and the insurance policy of every Jew in the world is non-negotiable. We weep with Israel. We hurt with Israel. What Israel feels, we feel. And God willing, Israel wins, and we will share in the victory. Amen. This message from all of us here is one that I want to pass on to our next guest tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the Ambassador of Israel to the Netherlands, His Excellency Modi Ephraim.
Good evening, Shalom, dear friend, Excellencies, Parliament members, the Chairman of EJA, Rabbi Margolin, friends from Christian for Israel, and all of you. Such a moving moment to be here, to pray together for the victory and for the best future for the state of Israel and bringing back our soldiers and the hostages, of course. Thank you. Thank you. As ambassador of the State of Israel, first of all, let me say it's a pleasure to be this evening with so many friends, with such a great support to Israel. Not every day we face this friendly atmosphere. 240 days ago, on October 7th, as we all know, Israel was attacked by Hamas terrorists. More than 1,200 people were brutally tortured, raped, and murdered. Friends, unfortunately, the world tends to forget. But for us, it is still October 7th. Hamas kidnapped more than 240 people, and we still await the return of, unfortunately, just 120. I just got the news that 4 more were murdered in Gaza, and just in the kibbutz near Oz, they announced on this for Yehi Zechram Baruch. For more than 8 months, the 120 Israelis have been suffering in captivity. Their families have been missing them for all that time, not knowing how and where they are. They are held hostage by barbaric terrorists, and we continue to call from here and to pray for their safe return home as soon as possible. At the same time, the ugly face of anti-Semitism is rearing its head once again here in the Netherlands and all over Europe. We are seeing record numbers of anti-Semitic incidents. Protesters march in the streets showing support for the terrorists of Hamas. Jews are being targeted simply for who they are. Students, also here at universities in the Netherlands, are being intimidated. And concerts, also here in the Netherlands, are being disrupted. We cannot accept children being bullied, Jews being attacked, or families taking down their mezuzahs out of fear. This anti-Semitism is unacceptable, especially in this country where 75% of the Jewish population was murdered during the Holocaust. Dear friends, you had a long day and you all have gathered here to discuss the shaping of the future of European Jewry, the combating anti-Semitism, and especially during these difficult times in the present, I can see that there is resilience in the Jewish community all over Europe, here, and I think that now more than ever, it is important to take a stand against hate. We as Jews must stand united in Israel, in Europe, and everywhere else in the world. Together with our allies, that some of the best allies are here this evening, we must continue to stand up and not give in to hate. That is why I'm happy to see here tonight Miriam Biker and Herzian Seichers, who are taking a very clear stand in politics against anti-Semitism. I would like to thank you for that. And here in front of me, together with Ulysses Elian, parliament member, Miriam is progressing a bill in parliament that aims to combat Jew hatred. A clear voice against anti-Semitism is needed more than ever, and this is an important matter also for the upcoming government here as well. That's exactly what is needed these days. Actions, tachles, not just statements. We just heard the Prime Minister Rutte, and I can tell you that following the October 7th, the Dutch Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, spoke out in support of Israel's right to self-defense and to fight terror. Both he and his foreign minister visited Israel several times, and I appreciate the support from the Netherlands, from the government, and from the parliament as well. We have here dear friends, Christian from Israel and many friends, many other friends that are not here this evening. And I think it's amazing to see the efforts of volunteer groups from Christian of Israel that since October 7th, they have helped in so many ways to Israel, to the Jewish community, and of course to our cause in the fight against terror. In solidarity, yeah, they deserve it, please. In so many ways, in solidarity events, in the harvest of fields in the south of Israel, in assisting Israelis who had to evacuate from both the south and the north. And I'm very grateful to all of you, Frank, Epo, Roger, and Frank, and all the people from Christian for Israel. You really keep the hope for us, and showing this friendship and solidarity gave us a lot of strength in these difficult times. Yeah, thank you. During these challenging times, we hear some problematic voices as well in Europe. While some show solidarity with the Jewish population and with Israel, some other countries have decided to reward the terror of Hamas by recognizing a Palestinian state. It is important that the EU, along with the US, continues support for Israel's right to self-defense and the fight against terror. For example, and some of the parliament members are involved in that, through sanctions against leaders of Hamas and the Iranian regime, and designating the Iranian Revolutionary Guards as a terror organization. Together, we must stand against terror. Taking a stand against terror and against anti-Semitism is crucial, not just for the future of the Jewish population, but for the future of everyone in Europe. Dear friends, while facing so many challenges, I believe that the Jewish communities in Europe will grow stronger with Israel and prosper, and I wish all of you much wisdom and success in the so many challenges that are in front of us. And I'm sure that together we will flourish and together we will win. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you, Ambassador. Please take with you our best wishes and our eternal love and support for the people of Israel. Let us take a moment, look around this room tonight. What do you see? I see hope, I see unity and determination. At the EJA, we share this determination and this drive with you. Some of you here tonight may not know what we do. This video is for you.
The EJA exists to make life better for Jews in Europe, free from hate, free from ignorance, free of anti-Semitism, free to grow, free to be.
We know that in every generation, Jews have faced challenges. Time and time again, the links in our long, unbroken chain have been put under immense pressure. During the Holocaust, they were almost broken completely.
In a continent that should know better, anti-Semitism, the oldest hatred, still persists. Anti-Semitism includes anti-Zionism too, the latest manifestation of anti-Semitism, hatred of the Jewish state and all it stands for.
Combattre l'antisémitisme, combattre l'antisionisme, et on doit également faire très attention en Europe à toutes les lois qui pourraient donner raison aux antisémites aux lois qui pourraient remettre en cause la présence juive en Europe. C'est fondamental de combattre l'antisémitisme, l'antisionisme et de maintenir une vie juive possible dans les différents pays d'Europe.
The EJA's work is appreciated by politicians, diplomats, and by Jews across Europe. This is because they know that all of our activities are directed solely for the benefit of Jewish life, from the communities we serve right down to the individual Jew on their journey through life. That's why we take leading politicians and diplomats from across Europe to concentration camps and ghettos across Europe.
To remember, yes, but also to find modern answers to an age-old problem.
We light a candle to remember those who perished and those who survived, burdened with unimaginable hardships. It is our sacred duty never to forget, never to remain silent, never again.
To find solutions and to enact laws to make life better and safer for all.
Anti-Semitism has no place in our societies. We will never tolerate the Jews' fears for their safety in the European Union.
An old evil is resurfacing in Europe. Swastikas have been painted on the homes of Jews. Synagogues have been vandalized.
I really hope we can build a world without anti-Semitism, without racism, without discrimination.
The European Jewish Association fills an essential role, working in conjunction with European institutions, the Parliament and regional national parliaments, combating anti-Semitism in all its forms, empowering Jewish communities, and strengthening Jewish life all across the continent.
The EJA is all about a Jewish future, a future that is in our hands.
Jewish communities are lifeblood of Jewish life, but too many are being left behind or are stuck in decline.
The EJA brings communities together, from the biggest to the smallest, for important conferences, to make bonds, to share best practice, and to be part of something bigger than themselves.
We connect them with key decision makers and policymakers in their own countries, and where the needs are greatest, we offer rabbinical, security, and charitable support.
One of the most important missions for the European Jewish Association is to work together with Jewish communities and organizations from across the continent to ensure, together with governments, universities, and authorities, that Jewish people in Europe will be able to live with security, a full freedom of religion. There are many challenges and much to do, but together we could do it.
It is now my great pleasure to bring to the stage a man whose faith in the Jewish people never fades, who in starting of the European Jewish Association over 10 years ago saw the need for Jewish unity, a unity of purpose, a unity of vision, a unity in our mission to be light unto the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the European Jewish Association, Rabbi Menachem Margolin.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First of all, I would like to thank the sponsors of this evening, the Christian for Israel. Thank you very much for sponsoring today's evening, but thank you for the blessed and brave work and activity for the State of Israel that forever will be appreciated and admired. Thank you very much. It has been an intense but rewarding day. We found some answers and ideas that can be a path out of this mess. Not just for one or two of us, but for all of us. Rewarding. I want to focus on this word for a minute. On the last Shabbat, when we read the weekly parasha Bechukotai,
we learned what will happen if we will follow and obey the mitzvot, the commandments. It is written that God will provide us with rain for the land at the right time, fruits will grow, and we will sow the harvest, not get hungry and dwell in insecurity in the land. Please pay attention for a moment. Did God promise us personal reward, individual riches, 2 Lamborghini in the garage? No. Indeed, the demand is from each one of us, but the reward is for all of us at once, including those who did not follow the mitzvot, the entire community. In other words, God is telling us, focus on something bigger than yourself. When we face a very tough personal situation, and many of us find ourselves in this right now, it is easy to turn inwards and focus only on ourselves. But this is not the way, and this is not the Jewish way. In these tough times, it is worth reminding ourselves of the power of unity. A very successful business person once said, if I can't solve the situation for myself, I should see how at least I could make it easier for the others. This is our way. And in fact, this way has helped surviving adversity and struggle during the years. So friends, I don't know what our reward will be, but I am certain of one thing. If we stick together, if each one of us lifts the other, the reward will be great for all of us. In these tough moments, type of concern, some could see some Jews whose faith and confidence are cracking. I would like to tell you a story. May I? Story, right? It's easy. There was a Jew Holocaust survivor who once told a story. He said that before the war, he was studying a yeshiva. And once he had discussions in the yeshiva. They were discussing the concept of faith in God, trust in God. In Judaism, we know this is very important to trust God. But the question was, the debate between the yeshiva boys was, is it enough to trust God for everything? Or God expects also from us to do something? In other words, if we trust God that He will provide us all what we need, is that enough? Or we need also to take actions? They had debates. And this man, Holocaust survivor, continued and he said that they decided, when they were split into two groups, they decided to check who is right. So there were a group of boys, those who said that it is enough to trust God and you do not need to do anything in addition. They said, we will go to the forest. We're not going to take with us any food. We will trust God that He will provide us food in the forest too. So they went to the forest, a group of 6 boys, yeshiva boys. They took with them only books. They studied, and they told one to the other, we trust God, He will provide us with food. Evening arrives, nothing happened. Night, nothing. They were hungry, and they went to sleep. One of them woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He was too hungry. So he said, well, it didn't work. Perhaps the other groups were right. We have no choice. If anyway, my friends are sleeping, if I'm awake, at least I will go, I'll get some food from the village. And he went, he bought some food, and he came back to the forest. He saw that his friends are still sleeping, so he said to himself, let me make something, a fun, a joke. He took the food and he hung it on the trees. So when his friend woke up, they see suddenly on the trees croissants, breads, bagels, cheese, everything on the fruits, on the trees. They were so excited. They told each other, you see, it is just enough to trust God. You don't have to do anything else. And the other guy did not say a word. And he said, you know, for many, many years I was laughing at them, how naive they were. They were so thankful to God Almighty for providing them food at the forest, as they don't even know until today that it was me. He says, but today I say they were right. They believed in God. God provided them the food. I was the messenger. The messenger could be other people too. I did not believe. I went to buy food. They continued to believe, and they got. At the end of the day, they got. And the reason I say this story today, friends, is because when we speak about challenges, when we question our faith, when we think that the situation is terrible and nothing could be good, we should remember how old is the Jewish people. We should always remember God protected us. God protects us. And God will always, always protect us. Take a second. Look at the person sitting on your right and on your left. Let us think how we can make things easier for them. They will do the same for us. This is what unity means. This is our power, our strength. Together we will reap what we sow, and we will enjoy the fruits together. Only if we remain united. But with God's help, we will. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rabbi Margolin. Ladies and gentlemen, I will come back to you shortly. In the meantime, allow me to wish you B'te'avon, bon appetit.
בוא נעשה יהודי. תלכו לפייל של היהודי, ישראלי. בוא נעשה את שמע ישראל. תלך למטה באמצע כזה. יש לך את זה? אתה לא מכיר את הפתיחה, קלי מטה. קלי למטה. כן, כן. זה הולך ככה? לא, כן. כן. קלי אטה. קלי אטה. אתה בעברית? יש לכם את זה, קלי אטה. זה לא למטה. יש פתיחה. Buonasera, ערב של שושנים, כזה קקו, תתחיל ערב של שושנים. ערב של תתחיל כזה. דומינו. אני איתך.
Hello, friends. I hope your dinner is going well so far. We have another greeting for you this evening. Shh. We have another greeting for you this evening from none other than the Defense Minister of Israel, Mr. Yoav Gallant. Please pay attention to the screen.
Dear friends, Israel was attacked on October 7 by a brutal terror organization, Hamas, and later on by others all over the Middle East. We are fighting in 7 different fronts, including Iran, Jordan, Samaria, Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, Iraq, and of course, Hamas and Hezbollah. We are strong, we are determined, and we will achieve our goals to rescue the hostages and to make sure that we dismantle Hamas as a military organization, and they will not control Gaza in the future. At the same time, you are doing a great job. The European Jewish Association, led by more than 100 rabbis, thank you very much for what you do. This is the 8th front, and what you are doing is very important to the future of the Jewish people all over, together with us here in Israel. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Defense Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, at times, it can feel that we don't have many friends, but trust me, they are out there. Some are there with a kind word, a statement of support, discreet, perhaps even a bit scared. Then there are the friends that are not only support us, but actually inspire us. There are the friends that in the thick of a battle, you can always count on to be standing beside you. Friends like these are not to be found every day, and yet they are here with us tonight. Before I introduce you to one of them, let's watch a short video about them.
Christians for Israel was founded in 1980 in the Netherlands from a desire to serve the church and to support the Jewish people. The goal was twofold: to give economic support to Israel in the anti-Israeli climate of the time, and to reach the churches with the message of God's faithfulness to Israel. Nowadays, Christians for Israel has grown into a non-denominational international movement represented in more than 40 countries worldwide.
Over the last 20 years, we've been able to reach hundreds and thousands of Christians worldwide with the message about Israel. And that message has remained the same everywhere. God is faithful to the Jewish people. God will fulfill all his promises to Israel and to the Jewish people. The place of Israel in our Christian faith is not finished. No, God has a great future for his people. And everything we're doing here arose and grew out of a deep sense of calling, faith, and voluntary engagement. We just want to be present wherever the Lord opens doors to bring the message.
Ladies and gentlemen, when two groups of people share the same passion, it is inevitable that they will find each other. You could even say it was Bashert. Rabbi Jacobs, how do you translate Bashert in Dutch? There you go. We are very proud of our partnership with Christians for Israel, and I'm proud to now welcome to the stage Mr. Reverend Frank Heikop, the president of the Christians for Israel International. Mr. Reverend, please join us.
Honored Rabbis, Chief Rabbi Jacobs, Honorable Ambassador Ephraim, Rabbi Margolin, and dear members of the European Jewish Association, dear attendees, I'm a pastor in the Dutch Reformed Church and also chairman of the Board of Christians for Israel. We as an organization are very happy and honored that we have been invited to a seat as associates of the European Jewish Association, and that I can speak to you. As a businessman, the founder of our organization tried to support Israel at a time when there were calls to boycott Israel. He did so from the conviction that the church should stand behind Israel. After all, Israel is the chosen people. With Israel, God made his covenant, an eternal covenant that can never pass away. Sometimes attempts have been made to see that covenant with Israel as finished, as a thing of the past. In Islam, such an attempt can be seen by giving Ishmael priority over Isaac. In the church, such an attempt can be seen by prioritizing the Christian congregation over the people of Israel. We believe that is wrong. The covenant with Israel is everlasting, cannot be replaced. God is and will always be the God of Israel. And any form of replacement theology we reject. That is our message to the church. Recognize that Israel is forever the chosen people and that all the promises of the Tanakh still apply to Israel. We have a message for the church. We do not have a message for Israel or to Jews. Very often Christians knew exactly what Jews should think or do, and we don't want to do that. We want to comfort Israel, support Israel, include Israel in our intercession. And fortunately, our organization has a wide circle of donors, which make it possible to support many charitable projects in Israel. The promises of the Tanakh to Israel inspire us to expect a great future for Israel. In the Protestant tradition in which we stand, a restoration of Israel was expected by some as early as the 18th century. And this restoration would take shape in the return of many Jews to the Promised Land and a reinstatement of the Jewish state and sovereignty. We are very grateful that we see a process of fulfillment of these promises in the last decades. To support and facilitate return of Jews to Israel, that has inspired and motivated our organization since its beginnings. An important part of our work, therefore, takes place in the Ukraine. A team of 20 employees is constantly working to support the Jewish community there. There's a lot of poverty, which is why a few thousands of food parcels are distributed to Jewish communities every month. And in addition, in cooperation with the Jewish Agency, we give help to Jews who want to return to Israel. We also support them in their journey and arrival and new beginnings in Israel. We have a wide reach through our own newspaper. Many watch our YouTube channel, and we have many contacts with local congregations. We hope that good relations increase between Christians and Jews, especially in our days when the state of Israel is once again fighting for its survival. We are very saddened to see how anti-Jewish sentiments are again being expressed and tolerated in Western Europe. We hope we can successfully fight this evil. I want to close with the beautiful promise of Isaiah chapter 41. But you, Israel, my servant, you, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the offspring of Abraham, who love me, You whom I seized from the ends of the earth, called from its corners, and to whom I said, you are my servant. I've chosen you. I have not rejected you. Be not afraid, for I am with you. Be not afraid, for I am your God. I strengthen thee, also I help thee, also I sustain thee with my right hand, which worketh righteousness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank, for your inspiring words and everything that you do for the Jewish people. Friends, in politics, it is said that when nobody has a bad word to say about you, A, you are not really a politician, or B, you're a dictator and everyone is too scared to say what they really think about you. But here at the EJA, we are blessed with the exceptions of these rules, from presidents and prime ministers to our many allies in parliaments across the continent. There are still politicians of convictions, politicians of principle, politicians who stand up for what is right, whether it is trendy and popular or not. Member of Parliament Mirjam Bikker, the leader for the Christian Unity Party here in the Netherlands, is this kind of politician. And it is now my great honor to invite her to the stage to address the dinner. Mrs. Bikker, please join us.
Good evening and shalom. Most eminent guests of the annual Conference for European Jewish Leadership. First of all, I want to thank you all most warmly for your invitation to this annual conference here in Amsterdam. And so far, it has been a joyous and heartwarming experience to be in your midst. Thank you very much. For me, it's very special to be here together with Gert-Jan Segers, my predecessor as political leader of the Christian Union. In the Dutch language, we say ChristenUnie. I'm sorry. Over the years, I've been fortunate enough to experience his leadership firsthand. And in my view, he was not only the leader of our party, but more than that, a moral leader not only in parliament and in Dutch politics, but I dare to say, for society at large. A prime example of this is his effort to fight anti-Semitism in our society, which, among other things, culminated in an official apology by Prime Minister Mark Rutte on behalf of the Dutch government for its treatment of our Jewish compatriots during the Second World War. The neglect and sometimes even outright cooperation with the Nazi occupiers contributed to the atrocities of the Shoah. And in the beginning of 1940 in our country, 160,000 Jews lived in the Netherlands, had a good life, had a community here together. But 107,000 were deported, of whom the majority didn't survive. And the Dutch government looked away, did too little. And still I'm ashamed of our history. And that has to make every Dutch politician at this moment to stay strong, to stay firm against anti-Semitism in our days. And I want to say to Gert-Jan, it is thanks to his efforts that our government, with others, at least apologized for all what has happened and all the silence we had in our streets. In the present day, Dutch society faces the evil of anti-Semitism again. It's surging. Jewish schools and synagogues need constant police protection. I'm ashamed of it. Malignant anti-Semitic chants can be heard in our football stadiums. We witness outright calls for intifada in our streets. And we all know that this is not simply a critique of the current day Israeli political leadership. No. When the unruly mobs chant from the river to the sea, we should not be naive of its meaning. Not to mention the recent cases of physical violence against our Jewish compatriots. And I want to say here in Amsterdam, our capital, never again is now. And this requires men and women of goodwill, both inside and outside the Jewish community, to stand up. And if I'm not mistaken, that is what can be seen in the Netherlands right now, with massive political support for both the Jewish community in the Netherlands as well as for the Israeli state and its right to self-defense. What is more, I'm honored that I can tell you that only last week, together with Julius Elien, another MP for the Conservative Liberals, it's okay, I defended a bill to combat anti-Semitism. With some small exceptions, political support was expressed throughout Parliament from left to right. The vote takes place tomorrow afternoon, but I hope and expect that this will lead to the implementation as measures such as a stronger actions against anti-Semitic chants, an improvement of Holocaust education at our schools, ensuring that schools are equipped so that instances of anti-Semitism can be reported and acted on, and arrangements both on national and European level that force social media platforms to act against anti-Semitic posts and outlets. And it is so much needed. And yes, there is a common obligation to stand up against anti-Semitism. It's a social obligation. And I hope that our bill will help. But it's also an individual responsibility. In the end, it comes down to the question, who am I? Do I raise my voice at the social venue where I am in position to speak up? Do I speak up when I hear someone making an anti-Semitic remark? Or when I see a Jewish boy wearing a kippah being verbally harassed at a train station? The events of October the 7th and its aftermath have only made this issue more pressing. And however we are blessed to know many examples of people who had the courage to stand up in dire times, I always think of a special one. It's an old story. I know you know all of her. I think of Queen Esther, a young but strong woman in a hostile environment, who sees through Haman's plot to slaughter Jewish people in the Persian Empire. In a moment of peril, she recognized that she had been placed at a decisive position, straightened her back, and did what was necessary. Risking her own life, she managed to prevent what would otherwise have become an horrendous pogrom. Like Queen Esther back then, we, all the people, all our children, must learn, stand up, face evil in whatever shape or form. And I sincerely do hope that I will have the courage to do so. And I am convinced that the Eternal One does not relinquish his world, but continues to uphold and sustain it. Evil will not have the final and decisive word. When I was a little girl, the primary school I attended was called Shalom, the Shalom School. At the time, shalom was in my mind a very fitting word to describe the world we were living in. The Berlin Wall had fallen, East and West were reuniting, and although I, of course, would not have used these words back then, it felt like the end of history. Without war, without hate, without oppression, but peaceful, shalom. However, it has not turned out like that. Real and enduring peace, fraternity of all peoples and faiths, unfortunately, is not something that the great balances of things in our world tends to spontaneously. No. It is something that we ourselves have to help bring about. And I do think also on this evening, it starts with spelling the word shalom in our hearts, to internalize it and spelling it outward so that our actions are defined by it. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Bicker. I must say, it is much a pleasure to listen to your words and hear your support. It seems that this is in the DNA of your party. I say this because now I want to pay tribute to someone you know very well. Ladies and gentlemen, when you talk to many of the leading figures in Dutch Jewry, and you ask them, who is the person in politics that they most admire, there is one name that always tops the chart. That name is Mr. Gert-Jan Segers. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. I did some rehearsal with Rabbi Jacobs in the lobby. During his time as party leader, he stood beside us on Israel. He stood beside us on freedom of religion. He stood beside us on security. He stood beside us when we were attacked. He stood beside us when we had something to celebrate. King Solomon said, "A good name is rather to be chosen than riches." Mr. Gert-Jan Segers, you have a good name among the Jewish people. I would like to invite you to the stage together with the Ambassador of Israel of the Netherlands, Mr. Modi Ephraim, EJA Chairman Rabbi Menachem Margolin, Mr. Joël Mergui, the President of the Paris Consistoire, Mrs. Ellen van Vraag, the President of the Hebrew Communities in the Netherlands, Mr. Hanan Herzberger, President of the Umbrella Organization of Dutch Jewry. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to invite Mr. Segers to receive the EJA's King Solomon Award for 2024.
With deep gratitude and profound respect for your work on behalf of the Jewish people in the Netherlands and for defending Israel. The European Jewish Association King Solomon Award presented to Mr. Gert-Jan Segers.
Put you all fast together. Can you go a bit closer there? Wonderful. Moet er wel zo nog.
Sure. Please do. Will you stay here or?
No, we will leave the stage for
Okay.
you.
It's your stage.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ambassador, Chief Rabbi, dear friends, it's a very special evening. It's a great honor, and it's a tragic time. It's a dark time. It's a great honor that in the first place. It's with humility that I accept this award, because I am just a simple guy who happened to be in politics and did whatever he could, whatever was needed in a deep connection and a deep friendship with the Jewish community. And I did this not alone. It was together with great MPs like Miriam and Ulis, with so many others, with Christians for Israel, that we stand alongside with you, shoulder to shoulder. And this is the first thing I want to tell you tonight. In these dark times, you are not alone. I want to remind you, and I want to tell you, there are millions and millions of friends with you. We are with you till the very end. Whatever happens, we will stand alongside with you. It's the words of Prophet Elisha, who said in another time of darkness, open our eyes, open the eyes, and see that the ones who are with us are far more than the ones who are against us. This is reality. Maybe you don't see it. Maybe you don't see it every day. But never forget, we are with you and you are not alone. And I want to ask you, be the voice of the Jewish community. We need your presence. We need your contribution. And as you are blessed people, as you have been blessed, continue to be a blessing for all of us. So please, be that voice. Be the Jew amongst us. Be the Jewish community that we need. Because without you, there's no future. We need you. These are dark times. These are very dark times. We have seen a hatred that we could not imagine a year ago. We have seen demonstrations that are heartbreaking. We have seen slogans that are hurting, that are so painful. And we see people standing on the other side, and we didn't know that they were able to say things that they are saying right now. These are dark times. But we are called to be people of hope. There's a beautiful picture in Scripture that says there is a bright morning star. So what is a bright morning star? That's when the night is at its darkest. Then there's this one bright morning star as a sign of hope that the darkness will leave. The night will be ended. The sun will rise and a new day will come. We believe in a bright morning star. We believe in hope. We believe that what we are facing today is not a final word. We have a deep hope that is given to us that will inspire us and continue to inspire us to stand up and to be that voice for justice and peace, for love to the Jewish community, to Israel, to stand shoulder to shoulder. We will say, and we will continue to say, Am Israel Chai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Segers, for your amazing, inspiring words. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your dessert.
What a wonderful word. רגע, אני חושב.
Please be seated. We would like to continue with our program. Our final speaker of tonight, ladies and gentlemen, needs little introduction. But while I do so, you may want to reach for your headphones. It's on the table, as our next speaker will be speaking in French. For the EJA, there is only one real leader in France. That's Mr. Joël Mergui. He is a lightning rod for Jews everywhere in France and in Europe too. His deep commitment to Judaism transcends everything he does. He is not a Jew to shy away or not to speak truth to power. He is fearless because his Judaism has made him so. As a result, he is an inspiration to us, and we always invite him to speak at our dinner because we know he inspires everyone around him. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now your turn. Please join us on stage, Mr. Joël Mergui.
Monsieur l'ambassadeur, mesdames et messieurs les ambassadeurs, je vais parler en français, donc vous avez des écouteurs et vous avez une traduction. En attendant que soit vous parliez tous hébreu et que je fasse mes prochains discours en hébreu, soit que j'apprenne un peu mieux l'anglais pour faire un discours en anglais, soit que vous compreniez tous le français. Cher Menachem Margolin, cher grand rabbin, chers collègues du board des leaders, chers collègues du consistoire de Paris, mesdames, messieurs, chers parlementaires qui êtes là avec nous aujourd'hui, c'est un grand moment que nous avons vécu aujourd'hui et je voudrais, en votre nom, remercier toutes les équipes de l'EJA, de l'IGA, pour tout le travail qu'ils font tout au long de l'année, à nos côtés, aux côtés de Menachem Margolin et de moi-même et de toute l'équipe, parce que c'est un travail fondamental qui nous permet de nous projeter avec un peu plus ou un peu moins d'inquiétude sur le futur. Nous venons de vivre un moment d'émotion particulier parce que j'étais venu vous dire ce soir qu'après le 7 octobre, nous nous sommes rencontrés avec l'IGA à de nombreuses reprises. Souvenez-vous, nous étions ensemble à Zagreb, nous étions ensemble à Jérusalem et à Tel Aviv, nous étions ensemble en janvier à Auschwitz et nous étions ensemble il y a quelques semaines à Rome. Et à chaque moment, j'espérais dire « ça va mieux pour les Juifs en Europe ». Et malheureusement, à chaque étape, la situation des Juifs en Europe et la haine d'Israël s'est aggravée. Nous aurions pu penser, ce qui aurait été la plus logique des choses, c'est qu'après le plus grand massacre qu'a connu Israël depuis la Shoah, que nous aurions vu le plus grand élan d'empathie et de sympathie envers les Juifs et envers Israël. Ça n'a pas duré longtemps, mais dès les premiers jours, nous avons analysé dans toute l'Europe la désinhibition de l'antisémitisme. Alors j'étais venu vous dire, ça va mal pour les Juifs en Europe et l'image d'Israël qui mène un combat le plus légitime qui soit est aujourd'hui écornée. Mais ce soir, je vois l'espoir de nos amis chrétiens. Et je voudrais dire à nos amis chrétiens et aux parlementaires qui ont parlé ce soir combien ça nous redonne du courage de voir les amis qui sont là avec nous, non seulement pour parler, mais pour agir pour le peuple juif et pour Israël. Dans notre histoire, il y a ceux qui se sont tus au moment de la Shoah, il y a eu les indifférents, il y a eu les complices, il y a eu les collabos et il y a eu les justes. Vous êtes les dignes descendants des justes de la période de la Shoah. Merci pour ce travail exceptionnel qui aujourd'hui m'empêche de dire ça va mal, mais je me dis au moment où ça va mal, où il fait noir, il n'y a pas que les lumières du judaïsme qui brillent, il y a les lumières de toutes celles et ceux qui croient en l'humanité, en la fraternité et en l'avenir, celles et ceux qui avec courage défendent les Juifs et défendent la légitimité d'Israël à combattre le Hamas. Mes chers amis, l'antisémitisme et l'antisionisme sont de vieilles maladies. On a voulu ces dernières années dire que l'antisionisme était un nouveau mal ou un nouvel antisémitisme. Pardon de vous le répéter, c'est le plus ancien antisémitisme qui soit. Dans quelques semaines, nous serons au mois de Av et nous commémorerons le premier deuil national du peuple juif, qui est le deuil de Tisha B'Av. Parce qu'à Tisha B'Av, on a détruit le temple de Jérusalem et on a expulsé les Juifs de Jérusalem. Ça ne vous rappelle rien? C'est la même histoire qui se répète. On a voulu dissocier le peuple juif de son avenir sur la terre d'Israël. On a voulu lui enlever sa légitimité sur le temple de Jérusalem et sur la capitale Jérusalem. Depuis, le peuple juif prie pour Jérusalem, prie tourné vers Jérusalem. Depuis, le peuple juif a ce deuil national qu'il n'oublie pas et qui se relève et qui nous fait vibrer à travers toute notre histoire. Et mes chers amis, si le plus ancien deuil national du peuple juif, c'est Tisha B'Av, la dernière fête la plus moderne du peuple juif, c'est demain soir. C'est la dernière fête. Il n'y a pas eu d'autre fête dans notre calendrier, c'est Yom Yerushalayim. Alors, mes chers amis, ce soir, nous sommes à la veille d'un moment fondamental de l'histoire d'Israël, du moment où le deuil de Jérusalem, qui était notre premier deuil, s'est transformé dans notre dernière fête historique, celle où Jérusalem, capitale une éternelle d'Israël, a été récupérée par le peuple juif et où le peuple juif du monde entier a réussi enfin à toucher le mur occidental, le mur du Kotel. Et au moment où les Juifs ont touché le mur du Kotel, toutes les nations du monde, toutes les religions du monde ont pu accéder à leur lieu saint, ce qui n'était pas le cas avant 1967. Alors, mes chers amis, ce soir, on est dans la douleur du massacre le plus important. On est dans la douleur des otages qui ne reviennent pas et dont on apprend régulièrement la mort de nouveaux otages. On est dans la douleur de voir nos enfants se battre pour la liberté du peuple juif, pour la liberté d'Israël. Mais chaque observateur comprend qu'ils se battent pour la liberté de l'être humain, pour la liberté de l'humanité, qu'ils se battent contre un nouveau mal. Il y a 80 ans, c'était le nazisme. Aujourd'hui, c'est l'islamisme qui a remplacé le nazisme et qui est en train de vouloir, c'est une nouvelle idéologie qui est en train de vouloir combattre le monde, les Juifs, la terre d'Israël, mais le peuple, les démocraties dans le monde. Et il faut qu'Israël, qui est à l'avant-garde de ce combat, gagne son combat pour que l'humanité continue dignement à poursuivre son chemin. Alors oui, nous sommes aujourd'hui en faveur du travail que fait Israël pour essayer de détruire cette idéologie et pour libérer le monde d'une nouvelle idéologie nauséabonde. Mes chers amis, nous n'avons pas d'autre choix que de soutenir cette seule démocratie de cette région. Et oui, effectivement, nous avons tant d'ennemis qui se réveillent aujourd'hui, des ennemis qui réveillent l'antisémitisme d'avant, l'antisémitisme nouveau, toutes ces formes qui sont en train de se mélanger aujourd'hui. Oui, on voit dans ces rues, dans les rues d'Europe, dans les universités, dans les banlieues, dans tant de quartiers, ces manifestations qui ne sont pas des manifestations pro-palestiniennes, parce que qui ne serait pas pour que des enfants ne meurent pas, qui sont des manifestations qui cachent un antisémitisme, qui veulent soutenir un mouvement terroriste, qui sont des manifestations qui ne peuvent plus continuer et qui sont en train de mettre en péril toutes nos démocraties, tous les pays d'Europe. On a entendu aujourd'hui toute la journée les dirigeants de nombreux pays d'Europe dire « nous avons envie de continuer à avoir un avenir en Europe », parce que nous avons contribué à bâtir l'Europe, nous avons contribué à faire ce que l'Europe est avec toutes les démocraties. Et si l'Europe s'est créée après la Shoah, c'est pour never again, alors qu'aujourd'hui nous voyons que tout revient et que nous avons le devoir de combattre ensemble cette nouvelle idéologie nauséabonde. Alors mes chers amis, je voudrais finir en vous disant, je parlais de Yom Yerushalayim demain, je parlais de l'espoir du peuple juif, de l'espoir d'avoir nos amis chrétiens avec nous, et de voir aujourd'hui, nous sommes à la veille d'élections, nous sommes à la veille de grands choix, et nous avons toujours voulu, le peuple juif, qu'on ne prenne pas de nous ce qui intéresse celles et ceux qui ont envie de se servir de nous. On ne prend pas une partie de notre identité. Notre identité, elle est complète. Notre identité, c'est des juifs qui aiment leur vie juive, qui mangent kasher, qui ont besoin de la shrita en Europe pour continuer à manger kasher. Et je compte pour toutes celles et ceux des parlementaires qui sont là, de continuer à œuvrer, parce que s'il n'y a pas de shrita, il n'y a pas d'avenir pour les peuples juifs dans l'Europe. S'il n'y a pas de vie juive, ça ne sert à rien qu'on se dise qu'on va nous combattre l'antisémitisme. On doit combattre l'antisémitisme et nous permettre de continuer à mener notre vie juive dans les meilleures conditions possibles dans tous les pays d'Europe. Il y a la nécessité aussi de prendre dans notre identité notre amour d'Israël, parce que notre amour d'Israël n'a jamais été un amour en contradiction avec notre fidélité avec tous les pays dans lesquels nous vivons. On est amoureux d'Israël et on a contribué à tous les pays ici en Hollande, en France, en Grèce, en Allemagne, dans tous les pays dans lesquels nous avons vécu, nous avons apporté notre contribution essentielle pour le bien-être et l'évolution de chaque pays. Alors, je voudrais parler aux leaders juifs qui sont là. On vit un moment difficile, mais il y a eu, je l'ai dit, le premier deuil de la destruction du temple et il y a la dernière fête de la reconquête de Jérusalem. Au moment de la Shoah, il n'y avait pas Israël. Aujourd'hui, l'État d'Israël existe, et monsieur l'ambassadeur, l'État d'Israël existe, l'État d'Israël est fort, l'État d'Israël est une démocratie, et quoi qu'on en dise, l'État d'Israël, c'est l'un des seuls pays où il y a à son parlement, il n'y a pas dans les autres pays arabes, il n'y a pas de parlementaires juifs. En Israël, il y a des parlementaires arabes qui sont contre l'État d'Israël, mais qui sont là, qui s'expriment. C'est une démocratie dans laquelle une partie des médecins qui soignent dans les hôpitaux sont des médecins arabes. C'est une démocratie dans laquelle il n'est pas question de penser autrement qu'à l'ouverture à toutes les nations, aux fraternités, à tous les humanismes. Alors, mes chers amis, aujourd'hui, Israël existe. Aujourd'hui, le peuple juif est fier. Et je ne voudrais pas qu'à un moment, quelqu'un ait honte de dire qu'il est juif ou qu'il est sioniste. Oui, on peut être tenté par la peur. Oui, il y a des moments où on peut trembler d'inquiétude. Mais on va continuer à bâtir notre avenir comme des juifs avec une kippa sur la tête, qui mangent kasher, qui aiment Israël et qui contribuent à l'évolution et à l'avancée de tous les pays dans lesquels nous vivons. Merci. Am Israël Chai.
Merci, Mr. Mergui. Please pay attention to the screens. Thank you.
The EJA is 100% dedicated to strengthening Jewish identity and defending Jewish interests, bringing hundreds of communities together for the cause. We continue to grow as more and more communities find their place beside us, working together on the issues that matter and enjoying the benefits of being connected to a whole greater than the sum of its parts. Jewish unity in times such as these has seldom been so important. There is strength in numbers, and at the EJA, we can all advocate together, presenting a unified force, a unified voice, and a unified position, not just to fight hate, to fight our corner in freedom of religion, on Israel, and on the safety and growth of our communities as a whole. Our continued growth isn't possible without you, the communities. We are delighted to welcome the following communities who in 2024 joined the already hundreds of Jewish communities affiliated to the EJA. In Spain, the Jewish communities of Malaga, Alicante, Girona, Ceuta, and Melilla. In France, the regional consistoire of Languedoc-Roussillon and the Jewish community of Montpellier. From Italy, the Jewish communities of Trieste and Florence. From Belgium, the Jewish community of Antwerp. And from Moldova, the Jewish communities of Balti and Bender. Together, we will continue to fight for what matters. Together, our voice will grow even louder. Together, we can enact change. Together, we can face challenges and seize opportunities. We have done a lot together, but there is a lot more to do. If you haven't done so yet, we kindly invite you to join the European Jewish Association, adding your important voice, your skills, and your dedication to the benefit of Jews all over the continent. Together, unified, proud. We are the Jewish voice of Europe. Be part of it.
Para nosotros ha sido un gran honor pertenecer a la Asociación Judía Europea, tangible como por ejemplo las matzot que nos han mandado en Pesa, pero intangible el grandísimo apoyo que nos está proporcionando esta asociación a nivel europeo y sobre todo tener una voz unida y conjunta de todos los judíos. Quisiera agradecer especialmente al señor Juan Caldés, que es el que nos hizo firmar este convenio, que ha sido todo un acierto para nuestra querida Kehila.
I just want to say for Hebraic that we are working already more than a year with EJA, and we find it a very, very good cooperation. Rav Margulin and all his teams are very, very professional. I went to Auschwitz in January, and I saw how good the organization was, and I was very impressed. And I hope that you could do furthermore this work. It's very, very important for all of the European Jewry. Thank you and good luck.
At no time since 1945 has it been more important for European Jewry, be it secular or orthodox, to stand together. That is why I support the EJA.
We, the Jewish community of Oporto, have decided to join the EJA because it is by far the strongest organization in Europe to represent Jewish communities. Our vision and values are very well aligned. Jewish communities should not stay isolated. We need one another to grow stronger.
As the Jewish community of Trieste, we have decided to join EJA because we believe that it is indispensable to use every opportunity to represent our reasons as a community of the Golan to the outside world. At this time of explosion of anti-Semitism and all our closeness to the state of Israel in particular now, that is a fighting and unwanted but a necessary war after the cowardly attack of October the 7th.
I work already several years with European Jewish Association because I know that these people make everything possible and sometimes even impossible for all Jews in Europe and for Israel. They make everything for child survivors, for Shoah survivors, for young generation, that Jews can live safe in Europe, that Judaism exists in Europe, and that Israel will be also safe. Am Israel Chai, Eretz Israel Chai, Amen, Shalom.
Je représente 8 communautés, Perpignan, Narbonne, Béziers, Sète, Montpellier, Castelnau-le-Lève, Nîmes. Nous sommes un consistoire extrêmement dynamique, mais nous avons besoin de l'association EJA parce que cette association nous défend au niveau européen. Je tiens à féliciter très chaleureusement son président, le rabbin Menachem Margolin, ainsi que le président du consistoire de Paris, mon ami Joël Mergui. C'est grâce à lui que nous avons pu, il y a quelques années, adhérer à cette association.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we near the conclusion of our dinner, we have some important news to share with you. I would now like to invite to the stage the EJA's Spanish representative, Mr. Juan Caldes. Juan, please join us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank each and every single one of you for being here with us on this special occasion. As my colleague Ali just said, my name is Juan Caldes, and I'm Spain's representative for the European Jewish Association. I know what a time to be working with Spain. And like with our current government, I have some good news to share with you. In the past 9 months, we have welcomed 6 more Jewish communities from Spain to the EJA family. Those are the Jewish communities of Melilla, Ceuta, Málaga, Alicante, Girona, and Andorra. All right, apologies. Our Andorran neighbors are still an independent nation for now. Just kidding. Some of those communities are as old as Sephardists, such as the case of the historical Jewish community of Melilla, which is present with us here today, along with its president and my good friend, Mr. Mordechai Wachnich, and to him I say, bienvenido, amigo mío, a la familia de la EJA. Putting politics aside for a minute, Spain is living a second golden era, not since the times of Cordoba, as the Spanish Jewish community is returning home. We have gone from barely having any Jews from 1482 to the 1960s to now having an estimated 40 to 50,000 Jews living in Spain. We hope that our millennial community will keep growing year after year. We have a saying in the Sephardic world which says that although Spain expelled its Jews with Inquisition, Sepharad never left their hearts, and that can be even seen today in ancient communities in Greece and Turkey, where Ladino is still spoken, as well as with our formidable music and gastronomy. As I mentioned before, Spain is truly experiencing a Jewish revival. And with this, I would like to share as a proud Sephardic Jew the big news with everyone in the room that our 2025 annual conference of Jewish leaders will be held in the city of Madrid on the 26th to the 27th of May, coinciding with Jerusalem Day, in cooperation with our local partners from the local Jewish community of Madrid, present here with us today, and the Federation of Jewish Communities of Spain. Nos vemos el año que viene en Madrid. Really looking forward to seeing you all next year in Spain's capital city, Madrid. Thank you and have a wonderful night.
This is not because Real Madrid won the championship. It just happened to be. Thank you, Juan. Keep up your great work. We're very much looking forward to meeting Madrid in 2025. Friends, I really want to thank each and one of you for your attention, and I hope you enjoy the evening. Just a couple of announcements. We kindly ask you to check out in the morning after you had a good breakfast and leave your luggage with the concierge. For those who are interested, morning prayer will be at 7:30 a.m., sorry. Breakfast is available from 7 a.m., and we ask each and one of you to be in the conference room at 8:50 if possible, so we can start on time at 9 a.m. At 11:45 sharp, buses leave to the city. And we leave Amsterdam City Center at 4 p.m. to be back here for those with late afternoon or early evening flights. Finally, I would like to ask everyone to put their hands together for the EJA staff and the Kaplan production team who have worked so hard to make this conference a big success. Thank you all. Laila Tov, see you tomorrow morning.